Well, here's the end of a big long pain in the butt. I got this sway bar bracket in here, welded 1/2-inch plate on that cross member. It's going up into that other 1/2-inch plate. Welded it on both sides. I welded the cross member into the frame. It's got a lot of weld on it, and I got it straight up and down. I can get my bolt in it. I can probably put one more weld on it at the bottom. But this took some doing, mostly because it was so hard to hold up. It kept falling out, and then when I could clamp it, it was off. I loosely clamped it, it'd fall out. Anyway, that whole section there looks terrible, but got plenty of weld on it. I'll grind it off a little bit. I think the next thing I'll do is box it, just to make it even more strong. But it ain't, nothing's gonna bend or break in there. Yeah, I don't know what I'll do about these shocks. They're gonna be too stiff, but maybe down the road I can find some little softer ones. They're awfully short too, 6 inches. 6-inch spring, 3-inch travel probably. Anyway, tomorrow I can cut this panhard bar, weld a piece of pipe in it. I got my economy heim joints, and they're real small. I thought they were going to be, 5/8, but they're not even 1/2 inch. You got a 1-inch bar on them. I think they'll be good enough. Get a left and a right. 4 of them for like $60, so I can fabricate this top bar of the 4-link. Just go ahead and, I don't have any pipe that'll fit these. I thought an old rusty piece would fit it, but it's way too small. So I'll go buy 2 pieces of pipe that'll fit it so I can weld it up. I'm pretty sure it'll be plenty strong. It ain't really holding a whole lot. I think that bottom bar there, 1x2 steel, and 1-inch bolt in it. I think that's going to be taking the majority of the weight. Well, I cut that panhard bar in 2. I was going to weld a piece of pipe in it. Turned out it was solid aluminum. So what I did, I got a big nut and put on it, welded this into the pipe, and the other one I just made a little spracer and a lathe, a little collar to hold it in straight, and I just welded that whole heim joint right into the bar. So I put it up in there and got the length. It's adjustable, but it's only going to be adjustable on one end, so in order to adjust it, you're going to have to take it loose instead of just loosening the lock nut. But this should be good enough, and I shouldn't have any adjustment in it right now at all, because it's car sitting on the center. And I'm getting too old for this. This adjustable end I wound up putting over on the bolt. It does go in. Let me use both hands. Well, there's Mr. Panhard bar in. It was moving about an inch before, side to side. It's not doing anything now. Pressure I'm putting on it's making it go down. It's the same on both sides. Side pressure pulls it down. So I think that's a success. There's a little bit of doing there. I had to make a custom bolt to fit that so to clear the shock. I used a grade A bolt, cut it off, welded a nut on it. That was actually one of the bolts that I cut off for the 4-link. But saved that bolt. Not displeased at all. Got a little flex in it, probably from the rubber, but I think that's good enough. And like I said, I do have some adjustment on it there. Not a lot. I'll probably add it up. Let's see if I can open this up here. Remember what size it was. This one. Yep, that's good. That screws up nice. I had these big old long tools I had when I was working in a motorcycle shop, because I needed big metrics. So the only way to get them was to buy a set of big stuff. I should have probably put another bead of weld around that nut, but I think it'd be all right. Yeah, just tightening that up. Looks like that sway bar was moving a little. That changed it maybe quarter, half an inch. Anyway, that sway bar's in. I think it's structurally sound. Don't know, but I saved my old heim joint. And now I'm at this point. I'll go get some lunch and go buy some pipe. And my next deal will be to make some brackets here on the for that upper 4-link bar. Fabricate some kind of mount for it. One thing I haven't done is jack it up and dump it and see what that does. Well, I jacked it up here. It's off center, but it actually picked the car up square. Let's see what happens here. No problem. I think I got enough wiggle in it now. I don't know if it'll take a heavy bump, but sure looks good enough for soaking up little road rattles. I'm really disgusted myself for all that terrible welding in there. Maybe I'll try to weld it up, pretty it a little bit. Ain't gonna get much stronger, but it can get a lot prettier. Anyway, after the few days of this, I got a rear suspension in, and I hope it's going to be strong enough. I did use big bolts in it, and I think I'll be okay. The worst that would happen is it would start bending that plate there where the shock is. I don't know how I'd fix that. Put a quarter power in it or something and jack it down and weld another brace in it. We will see. Thanks for watching, guys. Press along. Well, I went down to the steel place. Got me some 1/4 inch steel here. Tried my fancy new plasma cutter. Did a real good job here on a couple of them. This one, a real nice job. The more practice I got, the better it was. These are roughly cut out for the rear end. See, I had a little fun trying to get this one out, but I figured out how to use it, so kind of worked. And I got me turned out that a 1-inch piece of cold rolled steel was what fit into my heim joints. And I measured it and I forgot what the measurement was, so I just got 6 feet. So this is what I got right now for a mock-up. I've got a 1/2 inch piece here that's going down onto the bottom bracket down there. And I've got it clamped onto the bracket, so this piece is holding this pipe parallel to this bottom bar here. It's real close anyway. Might be just eyeball. I did cut off the or ground the end down here on the heim joint and just tacked a bung into it. You can see it sitting there on the rear end and all this ugly glory. I'm gonna have to move that brake line. But basically that's where this will go once I can get it ground down to fit the rear end there. Then I can measure the distance between the rear end and the bolt hole. I think it was 3 inches. So I got to get both of these bars 3 inches or whatever they happen to be. They might be different on each side. But here's the bar in here. I'll be able to weld that to the rear end. Up here, of course, I can't use this 1-inch piece down in here anymore to space it out. But I think I'm good enough now to cut this pipe. I mean, I hate to cut it too short. I don't want to weld it back together again. But I think I'm good enough. I might run out of this 1/2 inch by 2 inch plate. But I've got enough here for, you know, at least 2. I've got these 2, and I've got like maybe 8 inches of this. I don't know, that might be enough for 1. On the other side, if I have to, I'll weld 2/4 inch pieces together. But I think I'm going to have enough steel. As far as the level goes, it's all going to be, you know, I'll set it below the frame there. I can still go down 1 inch with it. But I think I've got it marked up good enough here to cut the pipe, put a 1/2 inch piece of spacer in it there, and get this marked up a little better. But that's going to give me parallel 4 length, and I'm sure this is going to be way strong. This 1 inch pipe is thick wall pipe, so the whole thing could be made out of this with no problem. And that little 5/8 hole in the heim joint's not that big a deal. Or well, it's less than 5/8, 1/2 inch. So the bolt's not a big deal. At least I've got it set up here where it should go. And my parallel 4 link is going to be parallel. And I actually was kind of pleased at how I did with that plasma cutter, cutting that thing out plenty good enough to weld it onto an axle. A little bit of roughness in there, it's not going to hurt at all. Give me a little room to penetrate it on both sides. I'll probably put this in here and get that brake line moved, or determine what I'm going to do there. Probably just unbolt it and get it out of the way. It's probably all chewed up. I might break it getting it out of that wheel cylinder, so not a big deal if I cut it. But I'm going to try to move it without cutting it, because hopefully I won't have to replace that brake line, for the simple reason that it might break in the cylinder. Anyway, here's what I got going on now. So I can measure this pipe, cut it, and clamp it together with the right size heim joint and see what it looks like. I cut this bar down to the right length and got it where the bolt hole be the exactly same length on the bars. They're still parallel. These brackets are kind of wide. I'm going to have to cut them down a little or something because they interfere right here with the bolt that's going through there to adjust it. But I can leave the bottom part and cut most of this away around where the bars are going through. But I'm pretty close there. The bolt's a little forward and it's a little forward of the bottom bolt, and I've got the same thing here because they're the same length. But I'm just looking at this and man, this is pretty serious overkill. I think I got enough of this 1/4 inch bracket to make something that'll go here, weld into the frame across here. It doesn't have to be that long. And it's plenty wide enough. You can get a piece look at it. So here's a 1/4 inch plate. So it would only have to be about this long. From about where that clamp is down to the bottom of the frame. Let's see what we got here. One piece will be oh, 5 inches, and the other piece, because it's going on the inside, probably about 4, so 9 inches. I'm going to need 18 inches altogether. And this piece, what I could do is use 1/2 inch piece, one that'll get welded down into that bottom bracket on the frame, and then I could use 1/4 inch piece that'll get welded here on the outside. So instead of this big long rusty one here, I'd had a nice special made one. And try to clamp that up and see what that looks like. Yeah, that'll be fine. I can cut some of this out, like where those marks are, round the corner off. I got plenty of this for 2 pieces. I can use that 1/2 inch piece down in there, weld it onto that bracket, and I can notch it a little bit, weld it into the back of this frame here. I can weld this one all the way around the frame. Put a 1/2 inch little short piece in here, weld that together so both brackets will act like one piece. Actually, they'll both be welded together, welded onto the other frame mount that I got there, and I can raise this 1/2 inch one up because it's real close to interfering with the bolt that's going through now, and then I'll move it in 1/2 inch towards the frame. I don't know if that's going to work because I'm almost hitting that cross member right now. I don't think I can move it in another 1/2 inch, but I think that'll be good where it's at. And then this one will just be a kind of reinforcing plate. So I think that'll work. If I'm just using 2 1/4 inch pieces on the back, 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch piece definitely is going to be good enough. Of course, I could put a spacer in there and move it over 1/2 inch. I'll have to take a look at it. But basically, I think that's going to be what we're going to have. And then it'll just be welded to that bracket there. It looks like the inside bracket's going to line up good with the shock, or with the bottom mount. So it'll look symmetrical, and it looks real parallel from here. And bottom bar is lining up good with the top one. Where this camera's looking, but yeah, now you can see. Yeah, they're real parallel. So that's what we need, is parallel. And I can finalize the parallel by adjusting the bolt height up here. I can get the pieces roughly cut and clamped in, and I can bore the holes and then put it up in there and tack it, see how it all looks, and weld it up. And that'll be the end of this. It's been kind of a long, went from 2-link to 3-link to thinking about a tapered parallel to parallel 4-link. But it's working good so far. Just taking a long time. Most of it's planning, trying to figure out how to do it and not make it look too stupid and have it be strong. But you know, having this welded on here and then I got my foot, and then up here on this too. That's gonna help everything. So moving along. Tomorrow I'll get one side here all figured out and get the brake lines off, and finish cleaning up my brackets, mark them, and I'll try to use my little plasma cutter on them. I was getting pretty good at the end. And see what it looks like.